Hello everybody, thanks for returning to watch our second edition of You Can Talk, and today we have something really cool, really unique that is rarely seen on the uke scene, and that is a Marca Aquila. So Ryan, people have obviously heard about you and your vintage collections, and we won't go into those details. Watch video number one, but let's hear about this Marca Aquila.
All right, thanks. Marca Aquila is quite an not often seen ukulele because there just wasn't that many of them made. Now, Marca Aquila, people are often familiar with the brand Favilla. Favilla made great vintage ukes. This predates all Favilla branded ukes.
And we're going to show Favilla later in the series, which is a beautiful
a couple of them,
but my favorite one, your teardrop.
Yes,
we talked
thanks.
About, but,
this instrument predates any Martin-built instruments in the United States. So, as far as we know, mainland-built instruments, this was the first.
So eat your heart out, all you Martin collectors.
So, probably made around 1910, maybe 1915, between 1910 and 1915. Mm-hmm. Tom Favilla tells me the label inside, which I know you can see, is the earliest incarnation of the Marca Aquila label. So he tells me that this label was used from about 1890 to 1910.
And actually, being an eagle lover, just to explain to people, it has a fantastic ink print of an eagle in there, and it says trademark registered Marca, M-A-R-C-A, Aquila, A-Q-U-I-L-A.
And so it's quite a small soprano. It's all mahogany. Mahogany everything. It has no raised fretboard, and I quite like that on vintage ukuleles. A lot of people feel like that's blasphemy. You must have a raised fretboard. I don't see why. I love it. And one of the most unique things about this instrument, first of all, is its sound. Second of all, is the tuners.
Tuners are very cool. I was surprised when I saw those green buttons on there.
So these tuners are really interesting, and you don't find them on very many vintage ukes. They are basically a friction tuner that works exactly like a wood peg. So it is a tapered peg, and it's got an insert that sits in the headstock that's also tapered. So there is no screw that sits in this peg. And usually with an old uke, they've long fallen out. And that's what happened with this one. When I got it, did not have these, but it had the inserts still in there. And so I scoured the web for a couple of years, and late one night a set popped up on eBay with a buy it now price, and I bought it now. The other cool thing is it sounds amazing, and it sounds different than any other vintage ukulele I have, and as you know, there's quite a few sneaking around here.
Yes, there are.
It's incredibly bright and punchy, and I love it. I love the sound, and you know, this is as old as most ukuleles come out there, and it's in really nice shape.
Now I noticed that the wood on the neck is much darker than the wood for the body. Is that just due to the cut of wood, you think? Or
I think so.
The stain they used was just darker than
I think it's just
the body?
I just think it's how the stain took to this piece of wood, because you know, this piece of wood obviously is different than your wood that you use on your soundboard. It's a one-piece neck. It doesn't have a stacked heel. Stacked heel, people will see that there's a little line on virtually every modern ukulele will have that. This is a one-piece carved neck. Doesn't have a lot of relief in the headstock, just enough. And
any repairs done on this one at all?
Yes. It had a crack coming from the side of the sound of the bridge down the soundboard and right onto the side of the tail block, which is pretty common with vintage ukuleles. All you Kamaka lovers out there, just count on vintage Kamakas having that crack, because they all crack.
A lot of them, not all, but a lot of them we've seen have cracks on them.
But this one had a small split, and
did our buddy the master
luthier
repair that for you?
He did, and it's just like new. In fact, I mean, you can see that it's almost impossible to see.
Yeah, I can only see it if you really turn towards the light. And even then, it's flat, smooth. It doesn't raise up at all.
Yeah.
And just looking dead on, I would never know if you didn't tell me there was a crack in it. So.
Absolutely.
Great.
The rosette is really very plain and simple, And it's a very cool little instrument. I looked for several years before I found it, and it's got flat bar frets, so this predates T-shaped frets, and doesn't have a lot of playwear. I don't know that it was played very much in its lifetime.
Great. Well, let's give it a shot. Hear what it sounds like. The Marca Aquila. Very nice. And this was, the year on this was around?
1890s to 1910. And 13 frets to the body, which is quite unusual.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for showing us the Marca Aquila, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot.